Hey, it's Marjory. It's Sunday, February 1st. What happened to January? Did you do that? I don't know what happened to January. January's gone. So, yeah, let's do a little. Oh, look at this! You got to see these ducks. There you go. Go on, jump in there. Now that I got the camera on you, you're not swimming, huh? Okay. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Yeah. All right. They have such a good time in those little pools. All right. Well, we had some things change this week here in the backyard farm. First of all, the cooey over here. This is the cooey cage. And I harvested 6 of the cooey out of there. They were mostly grown. We had a cooey tasting last night at my friend's. He's a Venezuelan who knows how to cook them. Oh my God, they were so delicious. And I am now on a mission to try and find the bigger ones. This guy here is fairly large, but they come a lot bigger. There's an issue here in Puerto Rico. I looked all over for but by the way, they tell me in Peru, like, this is a thing. Everybody has these cooey. In fact, it's kind of a small business for people to have like 50 or 60 of them that they breed. And then not only are they feeding their family, but then they, cook them and sell them on a stick to passerbys and stuff like that. Like, it's a thing. It's a huge part of the food supply and the economy. And I'm like, I think that's going to be really, really important here too. In this island, these guys that I got, they're all brothers and sisters. I could not get any. The guy said, no, the genetics here are terrible. So now that I know I really like these guys, I've raised them. They're easier to feed than rabbits. They have less diseases. They work really well here in the tropics. I was talking to actually it was last night when we were eating them, and I'm like, this island is going to need this food source. Like, this is going to be very, very important for people in the future. And the genetics here are just a horrible disaster situation. I think somebody needs to do something about this. And then, whenever you say somebody needs to do something about this, if you're the one who sees the problem, and then you have the resources to do it, then you're the one who needs to go do it. So I got to find them on the mainland somewhere. Importing something from another country, muy dificulte. But so if you happen to know anybody on the mainland who is growing the cooey for meat, please drop a note in the comments, reach out to me or something. It's going to be really important. I need to get a bunch of a really good breeding stock. The other thing that I did this week is I moved a couple of the rabbit cages. I harvested who was a little bit older and not producing at all. And so this is an area, if you remember, there were the 2 of the rabbit homes here, and I've moved them onto the concrete. And there's this soil here underneath. It's been peed on and pooped on and all that. Now I'm using duck water and just really getting the soil as rich as possible. And what I'm going to do is grow food for the rabbits and for me, like I did here. If you remember, this plot here was one of those. We had one of the, I think this was actually where the cooey house was originally. And what I've planted in here, this is Mexican sunflower. Amazingly fast growing. Rabbits love it, cooey love it, everybody love it. And then planting an understory, I'm going to plant some more things for the ducks. Somebody gave me some plants the ducks really like. And then actually the owner of the house here, Melvin, who used to raise rabbits, was reminding me that cohitre, I should plant some cohitre there. So the number of pans around here with the duckweed, I'm not sure I really like that system. It was getting a little wonky with, I don't know. You got to experiment stuff and try things. This I definitely like. Having a core plant with fencing around it so the core plants stay fine, and then as they grow out, the ducks eat all along the edge, and then I use the duck poop water to continually fertilize it, sometimes toss some rabbit pellets in there. That is working really, really well. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing here, and then here and here. So we're going to be replicating that. So growing lots of food. I'm going to put some moringa in there and probably some leucaena, and definitely understory with some other things, kuhitre and some other stuff. So it's coming along. Now, I want to point out to you that you need to generate about 1 million calories a year to feed yourself, right? That's, I don't know, what is it, a 2,200 calorie a day diet? You're probably going to want more, and if you're really relatively active and younger, you're going to need more. This setup here that I have with the rabbits and the ducks and the cuy, I can easily generate that much food. And as you can see, I'm consistently working on systems to be able to feed them. So you can totally do this. This is not at all an optimal or ideal situation, but you can totally do it anywhere. I was reflecting the other day, the universe has had me move so many times, and I've done this in so many yards. I get you could do this anywhere. I promise you. I've been doing it everywhere. Unfortunately, all those other owners, it's kind of sad. Although I can't help doing what I do, and I would communicate with the owners and say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," and they were all like, "That's wonderful, that's wonderful." And then eventually we would get the call, with a conversation like, "Hey, I want to sell the house. Can you move out?" And I'm like, "Sure." And so I move out, and they put the thing up on the market, and then it doesn't sell. And the realtors here say, "Oh, that's because you have those raised bed gardens and all those fruit trees and all that stuff planted. You take all that out." So they rip everything out. Still doesn't sell. It's because the market is tanking. Even the listing prices now are down 30 to 50%, and still nothing's selling. So anyway, but I was to blame for a minute there. Oh well, whatever. So that's why I don't put too much energy into any of the properties I'm at anymore, but I do need my own food supply, and I can't help but try to improve wherever I'm at. So anyway. All right, so I have been, if you were some of the posts, I sent out some emails saying, hey, here's where you can download the Grow Network Academy, and and it bombed. Like the first group thing I had was a private service. We totally collapsed that. They were like, no, you can't do that. Nobody can download there. So then I work with Grok, and I check with Microsoft, and I'm on the SharePoint thing, and Grok says, oh, it'll be fine. I'm like, at least 1,000 people, 300 gigabytes a piece. Oh, you're going to be fine. We send out the links. That crashes. Microsoft says, no, you can't do So now I've been working with Amazon Web Services, AWS S3, and these guys are kind of the honker. Like, this is what they're built for, but you have to be a friggin' developer. I mean, it is complicated on the back end of that thing. Anyway, I think I've got it figured out, and apparently this should have no problem. So I'm going to be getting those links out to you this next week. I think I'm going to stagger it a bit. But I'm closing down the Grow Network blog, and if you purchase the Academy or products, then I want to get them to you. By the way, I want to state again, if you've got the Legacy Drive, you've got everything and a ton more. So, yeah. Anyway, God, I've really been in computer online hell for the past couple of weeks trying to set this up, and whatever. I really would have liked to have done other things, but that's what the universe gave me to do. So you should call it maybe the loving intelligences. There's really a guiding, loving force behind this entire reality. And, I really feel it's important to everything that comes to me is something that they're putting there for me to work on, or to do. I'm a doer. You're a doer. All right, let's get into it. I'm sorry. I got a note here. For a minute there, I was like, why don't I set up my own server? I didn't get around to that. I went into Amazon and did the S3 thing. So anyway, okay. I read David Webb's book, The Great Taking, and I really, really recommend you read that, because that is a blueprint for everything that's going on right now and what's coming in the future. And so I'm going to go over some history. So his basic thing is that the bankers are planning that there's a great everything bubble is going to collapse here soon, and I'll talk to you. Well, we'll have to talk about timing maybe at another time. But the everything bubble is going to burst everywhere. And the bankers have been working for decades to what they call harmonizing the legal system. And then they've been working to create these clearing corporations that are big corporations that are on top of everything else that everything feeds into. And the gist is when this everything bubble pops, anything that you've bought or anything that you have debt for, they will collect up all those assets. And the way it's going to work is there'll be a banking crisis and the banking system will shut down and you will lose access to all of your money and probably lose all of your money, and you won't be able to pay back any of your debts, and therefore they will just go ahead and scoop all of that up. And you might say that's preposterous, right? Well, it actually has already happened once in history. And I've dug into the 1933 Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was March 6th to 9th. So prior to that, there had been some bank runs and there was some banking instability, which ultimately was caused by the Federal Reserve, but let's not talk about that. To the public, it was just like, oh my God, the banking system is having problems, right? And so Roosevelt comes in there and saves the day and declares a banking holiday. Lasted for a couple of days, nobody could withdraw money, nobody could deposit money, it was just this massive thing. They declared this holiday for your safety. And prior to the banking holiday, there were 25,000 banks in the United States. And after the banking holiday, so Roosevelt said, well, there's only 2,000 banks that we believe are actually solid, and so those are the ones we're going to allow to reopen. And of course, they were basically banks that were a part of the whole Federal Reserve network. So they basically wiped out a ton of banks. Now, apparently, there were another 4,000. Oh no, the 4,000. So I'm working with an AI on some of these numbers, and so the 2,000 were the only ones that were allowed to reopen. And I said, well, how many were completely destroyed? And the AI says, well, only 4,000. I said, well, what happened to there's 19,000 we don't have explained for? And they said, oh, well, those were, we don't know, merged or consolidated or closed or, like what? Okay. These are, the AIs are only going through official history, and official history is, of course, that's what it is. So David Webb, the author of The Great Taking, was in his personal family history. They lost a house because the bank closed. They lost all their money because the bank closed, and they had a mortgage on the house. They couldn't pay the mortgage on the house, and they lost the house. And he was describing in his book how that they did this on a massive scale. And what they would do is they would offer you, if you had been the homeowner, to be able to rent the property back from them. So, which actually, according to him, I don't get this, they really wanted you to rent it back so that way you'd keep the thing heated in the wintertime until they could sell it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So this has already happened once, and that was only with housing. And this next great taking that they have completely set up and arranged and manipulated is going to be for everything. It's going to be stocks and bonds, automobiles, houses, car, everything that you've ever purchased on debt and you can't pay for because all your money is gone from the banking system shutting down. Yeah, and then of course somewhere in there are the CBDCs, right? That'll be the solution after you become a renter. And I'm actually wanting to do an interview with David. What do you think? I'm going to try and find a way to reach him and interview him, and let me know if you have any questions specifically for him. But I was like, okay, so what red flags do we have that this is coming or that this is imminent? Oh, hi, dog. Dang, I forgot my spray stuff. Be fun to spray you, just to see. I did spray a dog the other night. it was coming up to my house, and I didn't want it near my house. I wanted to have a bad experience going to my house because I've got ducks. And I spritzed it, and it went off whining. The thing that I'm going to do a video for you. It doesn't have a lot of range, but it is, you spritz that in the dog's face, and it did make the dog go away. We'll do a whole nother video on that for you sometime. Anyway, pepper flavored dogs. So we start seeing bank runs. There's a bunch of indicators. Definitely, if we start, that's why so many of us were so nervous back in 2023 when the Silicon Valley Bank went under, and there were a couple of other bank collapses that went under. We're like, oh my God, here we go. The derivatives bubble is gonna pop. Like it's all. Oh my goodness, somebody mowed here. I might come through here and rake all this up. Look at this. There's lots of grass here. Anyway. They've been putting this in place for 50 years. Whoever is running this planet, it's really interesting. I was having a conversation with a friend, there's a lot of conversation that they may be alien, and because the planning that they do is so much more than a human lifetime really can orchestrate, right? And are they an alien species that is doing this? No, I'm not discounting that. Cliff High often talks about the Elohim, and that does seem like a pretty good model. The other thing is there's a possibility that they have access to all kinds of longevity type stuff. They may be human, and they've just, they've tapped into how to live 150 years, 250 years, or whatever. I mean, there's a big movement in that right now. So, I don't know. Maybe that's all been dialed in. Anyway, they do these long plans, but it definitely... Oh, hi! Oh, look at there. He come running across the paddock. Hi, sweetie. What's up? Yeah? Okay, I'll get you some grass. Yeah. Okay. He's looking at me like, come back, come back. I will. I'll come back, I promise. All right. So, the situation that we're in right now with a lot of things is that the supply of money is infinite, but the supply of goods is finite. And that is definitely what's going on with silver right now. By the way, they did tank silver, right? Last week they tanked it. It closed on Friday somewhere, 83 or something like that. I had some people going, Marjory! I'm like, it's a buying opportunity. Don't you worry. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after. It's going to 200. It's going to 500. It's going to 1,000. Don't worry about it. This is just some of that volatility while they manipulate this. I'm wondering how many billions of paper ounces did they have to use to get it down that low. And they really I think it was last week, there was one early in the week, it was 1.5 billion ounces of paper silver that they created to try and knock the price down. And the world only produces about 850 million ounces in a year. And you might be saying, let me explain that mechanism for what paper ounces means. So the bankers have set up the whole system of futures and options and trading and all that, like on the COMEX where silver is traded in London. They can sell things they don't have. Right now, for you or me, that is fraud. But for them, that's just business. It's called naked shorts. I kind of like the naked part of that name, but whatever. Anyway, so they can sell stuff they don't have. That's basically what they're doing. They sell a bunch of stuff they don't have, and when there's a huge amount of sellers, then the price goes down. And but the problem is so many people are catching on to that game, and whenever the price gets low like this, they go out and buy. I'm like, buy. When it's in the 80s right now, go buy some more. Go buy some more. Don't worry. The fundamentals haven't changed one iota. What you're looking at there is bankers panicking. Kind of a nice sight, isn't it? All right. The decline of a currency is a process with lots of signs. And, so I just wanted to point that out. There are lots of signs, right? And a lot of what I talk about are different signs that I'm seeing. And I'm not wanting to, get you down or anything like that. It's just, these are the signs that we are in collapse, that this is the roadmap of what's going to happen. The Great Taking is a huge piece of that roadmap. And so we're talking about a Great Depression that's going to be worse than the Great Depression is in the cards, and they are they are working it, baby. So and I'm just the normalcy bias is like, gosh, life is good. Let's see, I went into town today. The farmers market is bustling, and people are buying stuff and selling stuff, and lots of food and good times, and that's normalcy bias. It's normal. It seems normal and good, and okay. So lunch cost $22 for the basic plate, and it now only about 2 years ago it was only $10, but anyway, we are it's happening. I really want to encourage you to keep preparing. Buy more silver at $80 an ounce. I don't think it's ever going to get back down here again. And if it does, buy more. Okay, so I saw this. I'm going to write the link down to this thing. This guy had a whole thing about the three rules of the game to creating wealth. And it's not at all what you're thinking of. And first of all, he says competitive meritocracy is a complete lie. He says the three rules are: one is control the money creation. That's the first thing you need to do. The second thing is to monopolize, so totally control the industries. And then the third thing is to capture the legal system. So boy, if that isn't the situation we're in a nutshell. And he says, and that's how the ones who are running this planet do it. They're not a competitive meritocracy. I saw somebody in comments, what about Elon Musk? Like, you dummy. Elon Musk is an actor. I remember reading those stories about Bill Gates sleeping behind his desk to work all night, and it's all bullshit. So anyway, you got to keep this going with constant propaganda. You want to get a hold of the educational system and take out important components of the educational system and stop people from thinking, and then also revise history. I think you get the drift. It was a good. I really liked it. It was a good YouTube video talking about, like, this is really how it works if you want to do wealth creation. And most of us are not going to be able to control the money supply, monopolize. He didn't have a whole lot of good things to say. Actually, he wasn't very positive at the end of it. But anyway, it definitely is truth. I actually do think that we are. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we are gonna have this everything bubble pop. There's gonna be a bunch of people stripped. There's a huge amount of wealth transfer. This is happening, right? But I don't know. We also have other resources like the loving intelligences and there, whatever religion you want to call on. There are other resources that we have available to us. So I don't think they're factoring that in. Anyway, let's see. Oh, the Epstein files got released. What a joke. I think there's more photos of Epstein and of Jeffrey and Trump together than almost any other person with Jeffrey. So, but none of that was mentioned. Not at all, And then, of course, J.P. Morgan was the only banker to Epstein. So, there's that. Oh my God, they just continue on. Now, I did see something about so-and-so was mentioned in the Epstein files, so I don't know, they're going to do something, right? They got to do something, take out this character in the drama right now because of fraud or whatever. They're going to go to the same island where Jeffrey and all the rest of them are right now. Hanging out, sipping martinis or whatever they do. So the government shut down again. Yeah, no drama around that. They're not messing with the SNAP payments this time. Apparently the SNAP payment system is funded until next September. That's a relief. You know, I don't know. What do we say about this? The government shutdown? I don't know. Not much. I did that thing on solar panels. Y'all, a lot of people really seem to respond to that. Yeah, definitely go. You know, I mean, if you've got food and water and skills and a bunch of other preps, then I would definitely say pick up some solar panels. I got to go read all the comments. I'm a little behind on comments. I might do a whole focus on comments for my next walk and talk. I really love interacting with you, by the way. And I don't know who it was, but the idea to read The Great Taking came from the comments here, and I don't go into every single rabbit hole that gets presented. There's a lot of rabbit holes. But some of them are really, really good. So I really appreciate your suggestions, and I definitely like your encouraging comments too, to be honest with you. Okay. Flock. You remember Flock? You know Flock, the ones that are like putting up these cameras everywhere and then watching and where your license plate is and where you drive around and all that stuff. They've got tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of cameras deployed everywhere, right? If you want to find out where the nearest camera is to you, you go to dflock.me. dflock.me, and or is it dflockme.com? No, I think it's dflock.me. And you can see a map of them. And but they have decided to add to their cameras really high-powered microphones, and like really high-powered, so they can, you know, you're walking down the street having a conversation, they can eavesdrop. So this brings up a huge can of legal worms. Uh-oh. Hey, how are you doing? You go. Ostensibly it's for your safety. It's always for your safety. Did you feel safe? And they're saying, no, we're just gonna listen for, you know, gunshots or screams or something like that, so we can send the police in. And then apparently the reality is you know, like a backfire in a car, or, you know, fireworks, or kids on a playground. And there's been so many false alarms to the cops. The cops don't respond to 99% of the flags that this Flock thing sends. Anyway, there's some real good questions about like eavesdropping, wiretapping. I mean, there's all kinds of laws against this kind of stuff, and we need to start getting our legal muscle and like filing lawsuits against these people and doing something about this. So I've been really into the legal system lately. I think that, you know, I think there is a possibility of doing something there. So yeah, I have more to say on that. I'm going to be meeting up with Cal Washington when I go to Mexico, and he's got a group where they're writing notices to influential people, and apparently there's a high correlation to the number of people they send notices to and people who resign suddenly. I like that. Okay, by the dflock.me, it's called Raven Systems. Okay, so yeah, apparently it's not that. Oh, hi, horse. Oh man, that horse is just sitting there waiting for me. It's pacing back and forth. Hey, sweetie. Yeah. Oh, how about some of this grass? How about this? This grass is not the best grass. Let me go back here. I'll give you this. Yeah, that's not the best. I'll go get you some good grass. I'll be right back. Poor thing. I wonder what that horse's name is. Is a horse with no name? Alright, get some grass here. It's much better. It's nice and green. And we've had some good rains. It's fresh. Alright, he'll like this or her. Gotta look under there. I don't know what it is. I think it's a girl. Hey, Mama. Oh, yeah, that's the stuff, huh? Here. Put that over there. There you go. Smells like a horse. All right. By the way, I have been, here's a kind of an uplifting tip, which a couple of them. We do need to, there is lots and lots of wonderful things going on. I have rediscovered music while I'm working. So I've been liking this focus music. I am getting so distracted sometimes, and I really like this focus music, and I set lists of things I need to do, and then I check it off when I do it. But my God, I got to stay away from YouTube. I don't even go on X anymore. You know, you can't, that social media is like a friggin', it's evil. It's interesting evil. Anyways, I quit all that, but the focus music, so I like that. That really helps you. It's kind of upbeat. I get kind of moving. I don't want anything with lyrics, but if you're having a hard time concentrating, you might want to give that a try. They have some tracks that are like 12 hours long. And what I do is there's a thing called 4K video downloader. I use it mostly for YouTube videos. And you can download all these videos. You can download just the audio track or the video. And I've been doing that actually with some select channels that I really want that information. There's some channels on 0 Point Energy, and I downloaded the entire library of videos from what those guys are offering. And then like these music tracks, I'll download those. So stuff is going to not be available eventually. So I really recommend you become a data hoarder. All right. Yeah. By the way, okay, so this is a little bit of a personal note, and I don't like to do personal stuff too much. A friend of mine lives... Hey, oh, you again, huh? A friend of mine lives in Boise, Idaho. And she's elderly, she has resources, and I keep telling her, Emily, you have got to get solar. Power is very, very important. You know, it's going to get exorbitantly expensive. You know, you have some resources. And she said, I just don't know who to trust or who to use. So, and I'm like, my God, you're in Idaho, Utah, like that's prepper capital of the world, right? There's got to be solar installers. Anyway, if you live in that area and you can recommend a company that you know is reputable that I can tell Emily, please let me know. Put it down in the comments. Yeah, I'm sure there's some good ones out there. I'm sure there's some scammers. And there's always everything, right? All right. Somebody, I didn't confirm this, but somebody told me that Substack is starting to require facial recognition, biometrics, in order to be able to watch content. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. So what this means is we're going to have to move. Now I'll probably still upload to Substack because, yeah. And I'm telling you, there's two places that I'm looking at. I have not had the time to dive into them because I'm trying to get the files uploaded for you. But one is called Hive and the other is called Bastion. And both of them are decentralized social media platforms that nobody can control. And once you upload your content, it's up there. And yeah. So I actually had an objective to start getting involved with that a while back. That's why I started doing the work on research on figuring it out. So I will let you know, because that's, hi doggo. That's where we want to go. Anyway, we want to go to some decentralized platform that is not owned and controlled by the big tech companies. So I will keep you posted on that. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I am never going to have a situation where you're required to do biometrics to be able to watch a video. That ain't my vibe. All right. Oh, hi. There's another horse. I like this white horse. I don't give it grass that often, though. It's not up here. It hasn't realized how cool it could be. Next time, sweetie, I promise. A friend of mine, her son, really into weed, was a weed trimmer for a long time, and now he's designing robots. They have robots to trim weed. So, I've been talking to you about this trend, like the AI and the robots taking out more and more jobs. I lived in Western Oregon for about 9 months or so back in 2011, 2012, and man, in the fall, It was a massive amount of not indigent, what do they call them? What kind of workers are they when they just come temporarily? I got to come up with a name for it. Anyway, those people, and it wasn't like it was everybody. It was like a bunch of hippie. It was all the stoners, and stoners come in every shape, color, and size, right? So, and they all came and they trimmed and they trimmed and they trimmed, and you know, oh my God, what a terrible job! Very tedious, very small. You know, you're dealing. A lot of them wore gloves, but you're dealing with that weed all day long. That high-powered stuff. It goes through the skin. The smell. I do like me the smell of some cannabis, don't get me wrong, but man, when it's like pounds and pounds and pounds of it in a small space, I do not like this. It's overwhelming. But anyway, they're coming up with robots to do that now, so I don't know how many tens of thousands of people are weed trimmers. There goes that whole segment of the economy. Oh my gosh, you know the UN is going to run out of funding. Woohoo! Apparently they're going to run out of funding until in July if they don't, their members aren't sending in money. I forgot where the US government says they stand on that, but I'm like, yeah, let them go. Goodbye, UN. We don't need you anymore. So everybody's feeling the pinch. Oh gosh, July 2026, it'll be here by tomorrow, I promise you. Oh my God, what happened to January? What happened to 2025? Oh gosh, crazy. By the way, some of you have ordered the soil kits, and I have not been able to ship them. I sent the warehouse, you know, the weather, like, well, you probably know about the weather more than I do. Apparently the warehouse got damaged. They can't, yeah, they've had all kinds of problems. So we will get you those kits, I promise you. I'm probably going to send an email out to everybody who ordered them. But you know, it's happening, right? Things are happening. So I'm sure they're going to get back online soon, and they've definitely got the product. It's just one of those, we're in the middle of this situation kind of thing. All right, well, that's mostly what I got for you. Oh, hey, there's the cute puppies. Hi, guys. How are you doing? These little ones, they're adorable. Yep, you're cute. I just want to remind you, you know, we are living in this crazy, crazy time. The collapse has begun, and it is going to get much worse. It could be bad if I got run over too. But you know, like I said, it takes a lot of time. They take time. It takes time for this stuff to develop. You have time to prepare. You have time to get in place. Look at what's going on. You know, think critically. You know, whatever resources you have, there's a lot of things right now. There's so much waste and excess in our culture right now. There's a lot of things that you can pick up and do without any money or little money. So, you know, prepare and do the best you can. And I'm sure it'll be enough, but it is happening. And that Great Taking, man, that's been I really recommend you read that. Don't get stuck in, oh my God, it's hopeless. But there's a lot we can do. So, and there's, in this crazy time, I was mentioning this in the solar panel video, in this crazy time, there's such vacillations of things, of prices and availability and supply, and it's crazy, and there are going to be unbelievable opportunities for you in all of this insanity and all of this chaos. So you need to have a clear mind. You say, okay, we're in collapse. I know that this is going to be important. I know I'm going to need this. I'm going to be focusing on creating this. And then have the courage to do it when the time comes, to whatever that is. You know, picking this up or doing that, whatever. So anyway, but I know that the loving intelligence in the universe would not set us up without giving us the resources and what we need. So, all right, I'm going to play with these puppies for a minute, and then I'll talk to you guys later.